Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. Excuse me, I drank water and then I forgot to swallow it down. My name is Violette de Ayala. I'm the founder of FemCity, and you're joining me today for our Monday series. Today, we're talking about bias in the workspace when it comes to women. And so, of course, that was the theme of International Women's Day, which we celebrated last Tuesday. Of course, we celebrate women every single day at FemCity. We literally celebrate and honor women all day long, which, fills my cup. But we're going to keep on the conversation about ways that we can go ahead and take our individual approach to break the bias when it comes to women in the workplace. And so I've asked two amazing women from our FemCity Global Program to join us today. One with a tech background, one with a finance background. We're going to talk about the biases that we see and what are things that we can go ahead and do to go ahead and break the bias, of course, making it so that women are seen and treated as equals with full equity around the globe. So we're going to go alphabetical order. We're going to go to Alyssa. I'm going to give Alyssa a couple of seconds to go ahead and share what she does. But what I love most about Alyssa from the time that we've worked together is that she uses her experience, her knowledge, and her spiritual connection to help women move forward. Of course, she does a lot of marketing. She does a lot of coaching. But I think her biggest gift is to help women move forward and removing those blocks. Again, she also has a tremendous amount of experience in the tech world. So her perspective will be from that arena. Alyssa, anything you want to add to what I just shared about you?
Thank you. Yeah. So I'm an intuitive and business success coach. So that's really what I do is I help women in business stand in their authentic selves and live their dreams, no matter what society is thinking, and really be okay with that. But from my background, I've had a graphical web design marketing company that I've had since my early 20s. I started it in college. And so I had to break through a lot of my own beliefs and just ways people treated me as a young business owner.
Yeah. And I love that you added that because we talked a lot about that last Tuesday's FemCity International Women's Day Summit, is that sometimes the bias, we have to break it within ourselves. That sometimes we put those, those limitations on our mindset, and that also prevents us. And then when we prevent ourselves from moving forward, it also, of course, is contagious. It prevents other women from moving forward as well. So I love that you added that. And so the other panelist today is Victoria. We call her Vicky Lowell. She's also our FemCity co-lead for our FemCity Orlando community. And I just got a chance to hang out with her Friday night, which was really magical and wonderful. Vicky's experience deals in the finance world. So she has a lot of experience in the corporate world dealing with wealth and the financial aspect. And now she is on her own. She is helping women take charge of their money, move forward. I've sent her some of my friends as well, because she helps women that are going through divorce to help them gather their finances and to best be equipped to go ahead and continue to have success, abundance, and prosperity when it comes to their finances. Vicky, anything you want to share about that, about yourself?
Yeah, like you said, I worked for a Wall Street firm for many years, left to start my own shop, not doing financial advising. I do financial coaching with a specialty in divorce. So really, I just want to help women through navigate those hard financial moments in life when it's really hard to think financially when you're so emotionally triggered. I'm there to help, to coach, to guide, to put an action plan together. And that's what I do. And it's something that actually came out of my frustration with being on Wall Street for so many years as a woman and seeing how women weren't connecting with their finances. So I love that you're doing this.
Yeah, love it. All right. And so we do have some that are watching. So we're so excited. We have some femmes watching. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to go ahead and ask. And if you're watching the replay, Georgie just came in, so you might hear him barking a little bit. If you are watching the replay, don't ever feel that you're missing out. You can still continue the conversation. You can, of course, reach out to our global members, ask for their advice, expertise, and you can, of course, tag me as well. Though I'm not the expert in some of these topics, I always defer back to our global members that are, but you can always reach out to any of us. We want you to succeed. We want you to do well. And let's go ahead and talk about breaking the bias. So what are some things, or what is one thing that you know to be true when it comes to breaking the bias of women in the workplace? And perhaps it's a tip that you acquired from your former years or something that you recently acquired. And we'll do alphabetical order so I know I can keep track. Alyssa, what is your advice, or what's something that we can do to break the bias in the workplace?
My tip is to be authentic, but it comes down to confidence. And so my experience from this is, I started my first business in college, was in the Bay Area, and I was doing web design and marketing, and doing networking. And there's a lot of older white men in the networking sphere. And so the internal part was like, oh, I have to be super professional. I have to have this like wall up. No one can know who I am. I just have to be pure business because I'm so young. And there is times out there where you're like, why are you really talking to me? Why are you really networking with me? Are you interested in my business, or is there something else going on? And so as a woman, you do have to wonder that sometimes. But what it came down to is, as I gained more confidence and experience, I was like, my clients, the clients that I really want to be working with, want to know me. They want to know me as a person, not for any other reason, but they just want to know that there's a human behind the business. And so that was my biggest lesson and biggest breakthrough in becoming more successful was I can be myself, I can be professional, but I can be feminine too. And I can be a woman and I can show up. And that makes me stronger, because it actually attracted me a lot of women in traditional fields, financial fields, consulting fields, attorneys who are like, I want to be myself, even though I'm in a traditional field. So it was almost like, even then I was empowering other women because I'd help them with their branding to still, you're allowed to be a woman. And I think that's one of the biggest biases is in the workplace. It's masculine. You have to be a man and you have to show up as a man. And sometimes that's what happens, but you're strongest when you take in some of your feminine aspects too. So for me, it comes down to having the confidence in yourself that you can be authentic. You can be a female in a traditional male field, but really stepping into your power and being like, it's okay. I'm not going to be like everyone else. And I shouldn't be like everyone else. I should be myself.
Yeah, I'm listening to you and I'm thinking about my journey is very similar to what you just shared, Alyssa. When I first started FemCity, having the gratitude component and having that community base was something no one had been doing at the time. Everything was very, just very much more aggressive, much more, give me the referrals, very clean cut. And people made fun of me when I started FemCity because it was all about love, because I was going against the grain of what the visual is on an entrepreneur or female entrepreneur or a Hispanic female entrepreneur. So not having the aggressiveness, leading from a place of love, which I feel is the feminine side, which what you were sharing now. And it took me a while to realize like I don't have to be in business in the ways that people are telling me to be when it comes to like TV or movies or shows, where it's definitely more aggressive, it's more masculine energy. Finding my own place and being authentic, like what you were sharing, helped me to just move forward and create great success in my life, and then inspire other women to lead from love as well, because it does work. So I had the exact same issue, and I was holding myself back because it didn't feel comfortable being aggressive. It didn't feel comfortable doing those hard calls and not developing the relationships. I really had to just find my own place. And I was made fun of, and people sent me, not so friendly messages and texts, and people, thought it was a joke. But you move forward because just being authentic and yourself really helps others do the same as well. So there's a great place to go ahead and break the bias, working on ourselves to go ahead and illustrate that to the world. So I love that. All right, let's go to Vicky. Vicky, what is your tip when it comes to breaking the bias?
I loved everything Alyssa said, but I want to add, coming from finance, which is probably, I would have to say, the most predominantly misogynistic field out there. I mean, there are very little, or there are minimal financial advisors, women in wealth in the financial field. So it's really hard to find mentorship. And then you have to work 3 times harder than a man to get half the recognition that they do. They are still not allowing anybody to be authentic. You're going to be in the pinstripe suit and you're going to be working. And if you have childcare issues, it's looked down on you. We haven't had that Me Too awakening that we had in other fields really happen in finance. So the one thing that I tell women is find male mentors. And this is the same, I think, even if you are in corporate America or you are in entrepreneurship. Go to a chamber, find men who are willing to mentor women. I think it's really important for us to get our voice out there. That's what the inclusion part for me of diversity inclusion is, that I have a mentor that maybe has not ever seen the woman's perspective. He's going to learn a little bit by mentoring me, and I'm going to learn a little bit by being mentored by him. And I think that's really important that we have that. I think we've lost that a little bit. With Me Too, I think part of the way that women were punished for finding their voice was, well, now we're not going to mentor you. Now men don't want to be alone in the office with women. And you hear all these stories. I heard somebody recently said he will not take a meeting with a woman alone. And you're like, well, now she's losing the opportunity to get in front of that high level or C-suite level coworker and, show what she can do, because there's this innate bias there. So I say find great men. They're out there in chambers, they're out there in networking associations, they're out there in corporate America, and have them mentor you. And I think that's something that's really important, because at least in finance, there aren't that many women. If you're waiting for that incredible female mentor, she may not come. It's just not going to be there.
Yeah, I actually wrote that down to ask you. Do you find, and this is kind of completely off script, did you or do you find that there is a lack of access to female mentors when it comes to, and perhaps Alyssa, you have that experience as well from the tech world, in the financial world? Is that why just going with a male mentor, because there really aren't any female mentors? Is that okay?
Yes. They're very minimal. They are there, but they are not always readily available. They're trying to balance a lot. You cannot act a lot of times if you're in the female world, like you have a family. You can't do all these things. It's so much harder for you to break through that you don't have the time and resources dedicated to maybe mentor somebody. Yeah. And I hate to say it, but in a dog-eat-dog world, women in finance can be very non-receptive to other women. It's almost like there's only a certain amount of spots for us, and the young girl coming out of college who is a little bit threatening to the older established women. And it's part of the mindset, I think, really. The Old Boys Network is built on fostering and mentoring other men who are coming in, and we don't have that. So, yeah.
So, well, I was going to add something really quick. We talked about that on Tuesday for International Women's Day. Not only the lack of mentorship, but also the way sometimes women are viewed, which is something that I feel like with FemCity, breaking that every day. Like, I know sometimes we get people that come to FemCity and they're like, well, I don't want to network with women because they're all catty. I don't want to go, I don't want to network with women because, if she gets it, if Alyssa gets that account, then that means I can't. She took mine away. So I sometimes get those emails from people that have never really been in an environment where it has women that are supporting each other, women that are giving, women that say, you know what, there's pie for everyone. It is a big pie and everyone can have a piece. And I want you to have a piece. I want you to be successful too. So I know personally, I get a lot of those emails, and it's really through the love of FemCity and the community that women start to see that we are not catty. Like those labels that have been put. And by the way, TV shows, the reason why I stopped watching TV many years ago is I was done watching women be like, fighting for a rose, fighting, stealing someone's husband, stealing someone's job. Like, I'm just enough. Like, that's not how we are. We are very giving. We want all women to succeed and survive and flourish. Not survive, flourish. So anyway, the pie piece, that's what we literally talked about on Tuesday. I was like, there's enough pie for everyone. Go ahead, Alyssa, you were going to say something.
Yeah. So speaking into mentors, actually I had the same thing. Like, in my degree, I actually went to school in New Zealand. So when I came back to the Bay Area, I didn't really have a community or network around me. And my first mentor was a client, was also a business mentor. So seeing him as an experienced business owner, he mentored me into becoming an experienced business owner. It didn't matter the field, but that was really the resources that I had was from a man. So it was good. It was great. And I loved it. And it was also slowly over time, it gave me confidence. But I go back to this is what I teach is follow your intuition and what you attract. And it's funny because I always come across females in the financial field. I guess it's just like, I know that they're all men, and they're sort of, the bias is they're going to look down on me as a woman. So I notice when I come across a female advisor. So it sort of goes both ways too, where it's like, okay, this is how I get treated. so I don't really trust them as much. Oh, look, here's a female advisor. Here's a female advisor. Like, so it's almost like, okay, I'm finding women so I can support them and they can support me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's fantastic because there is a lot of mansplaining in finance. There's a lot of it, unfortunately. And I think that's really true. And I think you're right when you say, let's break down those views of women. A lot of times, I think this is true for corporate America. They don't want to invest in women, in growing women in a corporate environment, because the feeling is, well, she's not really in it. The minute she gets married and she has a child, she's going to bow out of the workforce. And I almost want to say, well, now with COVID, we found out we don't have to. Yeah, we can take some time off, but we can work from home. So is corporate America going to start accommodating women who are mothers and in the workforce? Are we going to start helping single mothers? I think there's no excuse not to anymore. We know women can be productive from home and still come into the office maybe once or twice a week and get that networking social aspect. It's curious to see what will happen.
Yeah. Many years ago, I was on a panel. Do you remember Commissioner Katie Swanson, Vicky from Miami?
Sounds familiar, yeah.
She was a commissioner in your district when you lived in Miami. And we were on a panel together. And in between, she said she goes out of her way to hire moms. Because she knows, I know that they're going to take some time off to pick up the kids when the kid is sick, when they have to volunteer, when there's a meeting, the doctor appointment, the dentist, the orthodontist, all that stuff. She says, but I know they are going to give me 100%. They are going to show up. They're going to, so that what you just shared right now, where we used to be that thinking, well, and I know that I've heard those stories, right? Do we hire her? She's kind of young. She doesn't have kids yet. She's bound to get pregnant. Maybe we'll hire somebody else to go ahead and prevent us from having, replace that person or pay that person financially while they're taking their time off. But when she told me that, it has stuck to me because it's so true. When I worked consulting or when I worked for a business, a corporation, during my time as an early young mom, I gave it more because I wanted to make sure that even though I was taking the time off, that I would still be seen as equal and giving everything I've got to the table. So hopefully that perspective and breaking the bias on that also changes and shifts. And I agree with the COVID. I mean, we were showing the world we can all work from home. We can take breaks. Like I'm walking Georgie all the time. We can still take breaks and find that balance and still bring in a revenue for those companies that we're working for or with. Awesome. All right. So great conversation. Alyssa, your final advice and how can femmes find you to learn more about the work you're doing in this world?
It comes down to one, just knowing and acknowledging we do live in a patriarchal society and there are a lot of biases against women in the workplace. Also just in personal, like, as you said, women are catty, like people don't want to, it's like, oh, well, why would you want a group of women to get together or something? But a lot of that comes from the patriarchal view of putting women down too. And I think people are changing to that. So for me, it comes to listen to your intuition. That's why I am an intuitive success coach, because that's what has freed up so many things for me, but I've seen it happen. I have a lot of clients in the financial field and in like insurance and mortgage and that area. And when you listen to your intuition and just trust your inner guidance, you may be doing something different, but if you just feel confident and sure in yourself, when people put you down or make fun of you, you can brush it off easier. Because if you live your life to other people's expectations and the patriarchal society, you're never going to fully be happy in living what you love. So that is my just advice. And it's a process. It's not easy. It's not just, I'm going to do this and change. It is a process. And I would love to connect on Instagram. I'm liveyourlife_adventure. Or you can find me at alyssawilliamson.com, where I have a free guide on how to make more, work less, and live your life of adventure.
Awesome. I love that you mentioned the confidence piece because I think that's the hardest thing. It's the hardest thing for women to find the confidence in themselves. And maybe that's for all humans, but I find that women, I don't know, again, societal, right? You see on TV, I mean, most of the time we're not seen as equal. So if it's not showing up in the arts, how's it showing up in our life?
And unfortunately, you have to get uncomfortable to get confident.
Yes, exactly. Vicky, your final tip or advice, and then how can femmes find you to learn more about the work you're doing in this world?
Yeah, I loved everything Alyssa said. I mean, I want to echo all that. And I want to say, you need that confidence. You need the authenticity. You need a little bit of bravado. It's called breaking the glass ceiling. No one's going to open it for you. You have to break it. And it takes all those things, that confidence, that self-worth, that knowledge that you deserve to have your place at that table, that is going to allow you to take a hammer and break it. So that's what, I always say, believe you can do it. Fake it till you make it, and then you'll make it. Even, put that theme song on, whatever it is in the morning, and to get yourself to work and do it. Just do it. And how can women reach me? Well, www.empoweredworth.com, or follow us on Instagram, empoweredworth. So that's the best way.
Awesome. I love the break the ceiling with a hammer. And by the way, after you break it, give it to another woman so she can break it too. So there's a lot of teamwork that takes place there as well. Listen, and we celebrate each other's successes. If I celebrate someone's success, I am really happy for them. And it also means that there's more success out there for all of us. So take the time to celebrate women, honor them, give them some love on social media, and we can all do our part to break the bias. And we did have some love that came through. I wanted to mention, Erin, show up authentically to attract your ideal client and empower other women to step into their authenticity. And of course, she gave some love the FemCity love. We love Erin, another FemCity Global member. Then we've got great info. Thanks, everyone. So thank you so much. I'm going to leave this one up here as we close out. Thank you, everyone. And for those that have never tried out FemCity, head over to FemCity.com. We have a great 30-day free trial membership ready for you. And we will be back next week with more advice and more tips. And we wish you a great rest of the week. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye.